Good morning, it's Marty the JavaScript Party. I'm my buddy Rhett, and here we go. It is Friday, the 17th of July. There's either 13 or 14 days left in this month. I think this is a June, July, August, April. So I know May is 31, so April, May, June would make it a 30, so July must be a 31. So 31 days. So we got 14 days, 2 exact weeks left in this um, month. And that's how it works. Let's see. So basically we're in a massive refactor. I knew it was going to be a real problem. So when you add a visualization, I have two sort of concepts. There's one which is supposed to map to the ThreeJS side and work like the way ThreeJS works, and then one side that works the way I want it to work, and it kind of stores whatever data I want it to store. And between those two, they need to work together to sort of make things look right. Well, I learned that I probably want to have groups between scene and mesh, so that's what I'm working through. But the problem is that every one of these sorts of things has like kind of a web of work that sort of supports it and all that, and they were all built sort of in line together. They sort of grew together and all the pieces came together. But this group is now being wedged in between scene and mesh. By wedged, I don't mean like forced where it doesn't belong. I mean that the concept just didn't exist in there. So I now am working through this. And in the meantime, I ran into a very, very common problem, which is, oh, I'm sorry, babe. I didn't even think about your situation. Um, so, but so the the groups go in between the scene and the mesh, so I have to build out all the pieces. Well, that was weird. Some screen just popped up and went away. All the pieces that sort of the all the pieces that with the rest of these where they all kind of grew together, all those pieces now have to be or this has needs all those pieces. It needs to sort of enter into this world fully developed, um, which is tricky. But in the meantime, I did run up on these problems with deferred dependencies and kind of got to work through that. So that's been awesome. And then I kind of came up with a scheme of keeping track of how deep into a rabbit hole of changes I'm in. And see, I see here, since I have 3 green check marks, that I'm 3 deep. So after I finish this, I probably need to go wherever the 2 deep check marks are, go find that, and then you do what I need to do, and then finally come back to this 1 deep. So this made a is asking me to make a change in the mesh service. So it's delete a mesh for group ID. And then while I was implementing delete mesh for group ID, I ran into, oh, I need to get groups for mesh IDs. So so that's that. And then we'll see how that works out. So now I know the name of this function is going to be get group for, and one of the things is I don't want my any of these checkmark comments to ever make it into the code base. So I don't have to make a decision at like, is this one I want to keep? Or the easiest time to make the decision if you're making a comment, in my opinion, the easiest time to make a decision if you're making a comment is when you first decide to make the comment. That's when you know. As time goes by, it gets harder and harder to uh, to you know to be sure. So anyways, so this is going to accept a mesh ID, which is a number, and it's going to return an array of numbers. And so wait, is that right? Get group for mesh ID? I think it should be get groups. Yeah. get groups for mesh because we're getting groups of them. We're returning a number, and then so I'm going to say const groups. I may end up having to make that a let, but at this point, I think I can make this a const. So that means all that's saying is that it's not saying that the data inside of groups is going to stay the same. Return groups. I don't know why it's showing an error. I don't think groups is a reserved word. This is so strange. Oh, it's because I said that was a number, not an array of numbers. There we go. All right, so basically, we have TypeScript that says we're going to have an array of numbers, and basically this thing's job is to go through our dictionary and get any group ID that happens to have this mesh ID in it. And I believe that the groups, let's see, in our group dictionary are, I think we have a group dictionary up here. Yeah, ST group dictionary. That's like a group. Let's see, go to definition. See, this is an ID and then a whole group. So I want to get all the groups that I want to search through them, and if it happens to have that mesh in it, then I want to return that ID. And I think over there I say, hey, if there's more than one ID, then then it's in more than one group. And I can't remember up here. Yeah, see, we don't delete until down here. So it's going to return itself, the group, and it's going to return any others. Um, so I do not like that kind of coding. I don't like that sort of inference. Well, since I got two back, I know there must be more than one or something like that. I like it to be a little bit more direct than that, but sometimes, that's just how life is, or maybe I'll think of a better way in the future. But anyway, so the first thing I need to do is get my group keys, const group keys, and that is also going to be an array of numbers. And it's going to say this dot, and then it's the dictionary, and I can't quite remember what it was called. Let's see if we can see it. Yep, st group dictionary. I should remember. And I believe we use the object object dot keys, and then I think that's what you do, and it will return all the keys. And maybe not. Dot keys. Oh, so apparently it will make them a string. So the keys does return a list of strings, even though I store them, I believe, as numbers. So string. Now, in the past, it would have been, there's a very good chance that the code would have just worked without ever even knowing that it was a string. Like behind the scenes, JavaScript does a lot of of like assuming. It assumes that this is a list this he must want this as a number, so I'm going to try to do it for him or whatever. So anyway, so we know we have a group of keys and that they're a string, and then so I want to convert and that comes from the group dictionary. Now normally I could just check this. I would do a console log group keys, and I would be that. But this code, I don't have it executed in any way. I have to build it out before and get everything all working before I can inject a new member in here, which is a weird idea. I've never like been able to think in those terms before. Like where it's like, oh, sometimes I can organically build things out piece by piece and it's great, but then sometimes I have to build out like the whole structure and then I can do it. And a lot of times you can like copy the existing structure. Like you can be like, oh, I have another existing structure, and you can just copy the whole thing, and it'll work. But I find that building things out in these pieces and at least making sure transpiles and everything is easier than like kind of getting a whole bunch of things work together and then kind of trying to find that needle in a haystack of bugs that are in there. Um, all right, so now we have our keys and their strings, and then I want to turn those. I guess I want to iterate over them. This is crazy. I cannot believe I am. So group keys dot for each. So for every one of these we go through, we're going to want to do this. And I probably will circle back and make this function in here a standalone function or redo this in some other way, which makes it easier to unit test because this thing's going to be very difficult to unit test as written. So we know we're going to get a key, which is a string. And so, actually, I don't know. I don't want to do it this way. Actually, I think what I could do, I'm going to comment that out just in case I change my mind again. Groups. Like, why not just get all the groups all at once? I think I can do this, values. Oh, it's ST group. No. All right, there we go. Now, like, yeah, now I can just say iterate over each group, right? So group, all groups. I love you too, Rhett. That's nice of you to say. This is the first time Rhett's got to come in here since Monday, so and she really looks forward to this. Oh, that's so pretty. Thank you, Rhett. That's so pretty. For each. Now we iterate over each group, and we know that each one is a group. So I'm going to call it group. And actually, I'm going to change this to ST groups. Not for now. For now, it doesn't really do much for me, but like later on during maintenance, it'll be so much easier to come up to speed when I'm looking at this code to say, oh, okay, I'm iterating over a set of ST groups. All right. So now we're end up doing is we're going to end up iterating over each of the meshes, right? So like this is like a double thing that almost impossible to unit test something like this, or if you do, it's so brittle. But let's do this. This is an ST group, and then meshes. Which is a ST mesh array. And that is equal to ST group dot. What? Oh, yeah, there we go. ST mesh IDs. So these are numbers, not. And that's where that is so helpful. Okay, so now this one will actually just go through and here, let's slash dot. I really am thinking about doing this at work because, since at the end of the day, you don't actually ever commit these in. And it is so nice to be able to kind of follow the rabbit hole of where you're doing work by adding these in. And the fact that you can't actually add emoticons at work is actually plays into this really well. Change this to ST groups. Okay, so for deep, and we want to check the meshes for the ST mesh ID. And that's what we'll do tomorrow. Happy coding, everybody. Bye.